Welcome back. In this chapter, I'm going to explain about a design pattern, especially useful for optimization and for object instantiation called object pool design pattern. And you may have an experience of implementing of this concept, but I'm gonna organize it, and it is useful for those who know about this concept object pooling and those who don't know about object pooling concept. Actually, in Unity, if we want to instantiate something, for instance enemies, bullets, particles, and so on, we need to do it at runtime and call the instantiate function provided by Unity. But this process makes some problems, and we may face with memory issues, memory optimization, and some frame drops, memory leaks, and so on. And it's better to not use the instantiate function, especially many times and in update. For example, 2 seconds once, instantiate something, instantiate an enemy, and this is not so good for a game. So we need to instantiate all the game objects we want during the gameplay at the initial point of the game, in the start or in the wake, and after that we need to set them active based on our needs. For example, in a pool we have 200 of game objects, 200 of explosion, particles, enemies, and so on, and each time we need to active them based on our needs. For example, if we left click on a mouse and with that we have a new enemy, and instead of instantiate method, we need to get an enemy from the pool, but we need to organize it because we need to get the object from the pool and delete it from the pool, because after activating the object we don't need it to exist inside the pool, and also after finishing our works we need to return it back to the pool. This is the concept. So let's get started. Here we need to go to this script. Here these scripts belongs to the previous chapter, factory pattern, and let's create another folder called object pool pattern. Alright, here let's open it and create a new MonoBehavior script called object pool manager. Alright, here in the object pool manager we need to do something and instantiate enemies. In the previous chapter I've explained about these prefabs, these creatures, and I want to instantiate them and actually activate them from the pool with this design pattern. Alright, first we need to declare a serialized field, game object private, game object, and call it enemy prefab. Alright, next is the pool size. For example, int pool size, and the default value is 20. We want 20 numbers of this enemy, this prefab at the wake or start. Next, we need something to store the list of prefabs. For example, we can use array, list, dictionary, but I prefer queue because we can easily fetch an element from the queue and delete it, remove it from the queue, and return it back anytime we want. And I don't want to deep dive into the queue, but the simple explanation is what I explained. Here we need to add the system.collection.generic, and here we need to declare a private queue, a generic queue. We need to send the type we want to create. Here game object. We need a list of game objects, and here creature pool, and call new queue game object. Alright, this is our queue, and here we need to add the game objects, essentially the game objects at the awake or start. We'll use awake, alright? In awake, I need to use for int I from 0 until I is smaller than pool size I++. Alright, here we need to create the game objects. Game object, enemy, and instantiate, call the instantiate method. And here we need to send the enemy prefab. And then here we need to deactivate the enemy.setActive because we don't want it at the start, and make it false. And then here creature pool.enqueue. And here with this method we can put the enemy inside the creature pool. Alright, next one, another method. It is for instantiating and filling the queue. The next we need a method to get the elements and the creatures, enemies of the pool. And here we need a public or internal. Let's declare the internal game object called get enemy. And here it will get one of the enemies inside the pool and return it back to the color. And we need another script for calling the method and pool. Right, here it will return a game object. Here we need to check the size of the queue. Enemy, creature, pool. If creature pool.count is more than 0, is greater than 0, then here we need to fetch one of the enemies from the pool. Here game object, create a game object called enemy, and here called creature pool, dot dequeue. Dequeue will fetch the last item of the queue. And here we need to call the enemy.setActive true because we need to make it enable. And here return the enemy back to the color. Else, if the creature pool was equal to the 0, then we need to instantiate the enemy. It's actually for some exceptions. Game object, enemy, again, and instantiate enemy prefab. Right. Here return the enemy. Okay, this is this method is for getting the objects from the pool. Right, we need another method to return it back, return object to the pool. Color actually after doing its job with the object, the color needs to return back the object to the pool. And here we need to store it inside the pool again. We need a method called return enemy, and here we need a parameter of type of game object and enemy. All right, this is good. Here we need to make the enemy disable again, set it false, set active false, and creature pool dot enqueue, and put it inside the creature pool again, enemy. All right, this is good. Alright, this is our simple object pool manager. Next, we need another script to call the object pool. Here we can use a singleton concept for the object pool manager. Because, for example, I want to declare a player script, and player needs to access to the get enemy, return enemy, and so on. We need to call find object pool manager in the scene, and this is not so useful because you're familiar with the singleton pattern. I've explained it in the first chapter, and here it's better to declare an internal type of object pool manager self, and in the awake we need to set the self with this. Now we can access the self and access to the get enemy and return enemy without calling the find game object method to find the object pool manager in the scene. Alright, let's save and get back to the Unity. Alright, here we need another script called object pool color. Right. Okay, here we need to delete these lines, and here we need to declare the update. Here, if I press a key, then get an enemy from the pool. If actually in this scenario or a tutorial, I've considered the object pool manager is single, and we have a single object pool manager in this scene. You can ignore the I forgot the static, excuse me. You can ignore the static and single tone pattern for this script and assign it to a game object. Actually, you can have multiple object pool managers. It's arbitrary. I've decided to make it a global manager. Here, if input.get key down key code dot space. Alright, here if I press space, now we can access to the object pool manager and get the enemy. Alright, here we need to declare a game object and enemy. And here we need to access to the object pool manager dot self dot get enemy. And here we can successfully get an enemy. And here we need to change the position of the enemy. Here, let's declare a vector tree, private vector tree position. And here, enemy.transform.position equal to the position. Alright, after that, we need to return the enemy back to the queue. Here, we can use a timer, or you can check another key. I prefer to check another key, else if input.get key down key code dot g, for example, object pool manager dot self return enemy, and here we need to return back the enemy. Here we need to store the enemy, temp enemy or current enemy, and store it inside this. Right, here we need to send the temp enemy to the return enemy, but we need to check if temp enemy was exist. Just this statement is sufficient. We don't need to check it to null. If it was null, then do this job. This is sufficient. Alright, now let's press save, and here we need to check. Right, here let's deactivate this. These objects is related to the factory pattern from the previous chapter. Here another game is called object pool manager, and here we need to assign the object pool manager to it, and here we need an enemy prefab. Here prefab, and let's assign this creature here. Alright, now we need another game object, object pool color, and script. Okay, we need a position here. I need to set it to this position. Let's add a cube to this scene or empty game object. Here, this is the position of the game object, and we need to right click and copy, and let's paste it to here. Okay, now play the game. Okay, as you can see, we have several, actually 20 game objects, runner, creature in the scene, and all of them are deactivated. And press space, and as you can see, the first one now has been activated, and we have it in the scene. Okay, and we can easily change its position, and let's press space again, and we have. Now press G, and we've lost the last activated creature, and here this is the process. You can see I'm pressing the space and G, but we have a problem here, because if I press G and press G again, we can't return it back, because here we have the temp enemy. If we press space again without returning the last enemy, the previous enemy, actually we'll override it. And here we need a list, or we need an array for the temp enemy. It is a better concept to here private list from the system.collections.generic game object and store each enemy temp enemies. Alright, and here instead of make it equal to the get enemy, here we need to call the add method to add this to the list. Alright, and here we need to get access to the last element of the list. Here we need to call the temp enemies dot count -1, and we'll get access to the last element of the temp enemies dot transform dot position equal to the position. And here we need to check the temp enemies dot count. If greater than 0, then we need to send and return back the temp enemies the last element, temp enemies dot count -1. And here we can with this method we can return it back. And next we need to remove the last element inside the list. Here we need to call the temp enemies dot remove at. Here remove at method will take an index, and here we can easily get the index of count -1 like this. Here actually we've sent the last element, the index of the last element of the list to remove the last. We don't need the last element anymore. Here let's save and get back to the Unity. Alright, play, press space and G, and as you can see here we have the process. Okay, this is very simple object pool. Actually, object pool is not so complicated, but we can make it better. We can implement the object pool using the generics. We can implement something called auto return system for the object pool. For example, we don't need to call the return object, return enemy method manually. We can do it automatically inside the object pool itself. We can do anything we want, but the object pool is very important for the optimization, and make sure to use it inside your game, especially if you have many objects to instantiate in your scene. See you later.